Could the ancient Egyptian pharaoh, Tutankhamun, and Jesus Christ be connected in ways we never imagined? What if these iconic figures from different eras and cultures were actually manifestations of the same divine being reincarnated throughout history? Picture this: two legendary figures, separated by centuries and continents, both laid to rest in sacred caves. Tutankhamun, the boy king of Egypt, entombed in the Valley of the Kings. Jesus, the revered spiritual leader, placed in a rock-hewn sepulchre outside Jerusalem. At first glance, their stories seem worlds apart. But what if there's more to this parallel than meets the eye? Let's dive deeper into the mystery of Tutankhamun. In 1922, Howard Carter made Zalasa the archaeological discovery of a lifetime when he unearthed the pharaoh's nearly intact tomb, hidden away for over 3,000 years. This subterranean chamber held unimaginable treasures and the mummified remains of the young ruler who died around 1323 BCE. The tomb itself was a marvel of ancient engineering, a series of 4 nested shrines protecting the king's sarcophagus and mummy, but it's the location that intrigues us today. Carved into the limestone cliffs of the Valley of the Kings, Tutankhamun's final resting place was quite literally a cave. Now, fast forward about 1,300 years to 1st century Judea, according to Christian tradition. After Jesus was crucified, his body was placed in a tomb carved out of rock, essentially another cave. The Gospels describe how Jesus' followers found this cave empty 3 days later, sparking belief in his resurrection. 2 revered figures, 2 cave burials? But is this merely coincidence? Or could it point to a deeper connection? Some theorists propose that Tutankhamun and Jesus were incarnations of the same divine entity, manifesting at different points in history to guide humanity. It's an idea that challenges our understanding of time, spirituality, and the nature of existence itself. Could the soul of the boy pharaoh have been reborn centuries later as the carpenter's son from Nazareth? Were they both earthly vessels for a celestial being, returning again and again to shepherd mankind? Of course, mainstream historians and religious scholars would balk at such suggestions. The cultural, theological, and chronological gaps between Tutankhamun and Jesus are vast. One ruled as a god-king in a polytheistic society, while the other preached monotheism and challenged the established order. Yet proponents of this theory point to intriguing parallels. Both figures died young. Tutankhamun, around 19, Jesus, at about 33. Both were seen as divine or semi-divine beings in their respective cultures, and both have captivated the human imagination for millennia, their legacies enduring long after their physical deaths. But why stop at Tutankhamun and Jesus? Some expand this concept further, suggesting that other major religious and mythological figures might be part of this cycle of divine incarnation. Apollo, the Greek god of light and prophecy, Krishna, the Hindu avatar of Vishnu, are sometimes included in this speculative lineage. Imagine a single consciousness, a cosmic entity, choosing to manifest in human form at pivotal moments throughout history. In ancient Egypt, it takes the form of a pharaoh, guiding his people through the lens of their polytheistic beliefs. In 1st century Judea, it appears as a radical teacher, reshaping monotheism and spawning a new faith. In India, it becomes Krishna, imparting wisdom through the Bhagavad Gita. This concept of cyclical incarnation isn't entirely foreign to many belief systems. Hinduism embraces the idea of avatar, divine beings, taking physical form on earth. Some interpretations of Buddhism suggest that enlightened beings may choose to be reborn to help others achieve enlightenment. But linking figures from such disparate traditions and time periods is a leap that many would find hard to accept. It requires us to look beyond the boundaries of individual religions and cultures, seeking a unifying thread in the tapestry of human spirituality. Critics argue that such theories ignore the unique cultural contexts that shaped each of these figures. Tutankhamun was a product of ancient Egyptian theology and royal tradition. Jesus emerged from Jewish messianic expectations in Roman-occupied Judea. Apollo and Krishna are deeply rooted in their respective mythological systems. Moreover, the historical evidence for some of these figures varies greatly. Tutankhamun left behind a wealth of physical artifacts and inscriptions. The existence of Jesus is attested in both religious and some non-religious historical sources. Apollo and Krishna, however, belong more to the realm of myth and legend than verifiable history. Yet supporters of the divine incarnation theory might argue that these differences are precisely the point. If a cosmic being were to manifest in different cultures and eras, wouldn't it adapt its appearance and teachings to the context of the time? The message and the messenger would need to resonate with the people of that specific place and period. This leads us to some profound questions about the nature of divinity and human perception. If there is indeed a universal truth or divine presence, how would it communicate with humanity across vast gulfs of time and culture? Might it choose to appear in forms familiar and comprehensible to different societies? The cave burial connection between Tutankhamun and Jesus takes on new significance in this light. Could the cave symbolize a portal between the earthly and divine realms? A womb-like space where transformation and rebirth occur?
Yes.
In many cultures, caves have been seen as sacred places, thresholds between the world of the living and the world of spirits or gods. Tutankhamun's elaborate tomb, with its multiple chambers and rich funerary goods, was designed to facilitate the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife. Jesus' rock-hewn tomb became the site of his reported resurrection. Both spaces mark a transition between earthly existence and something beyond. If we entertain the idea of these figures as incarnations of the same being, perhaps the cave represents a point of entry and exit for this divine consciousness, a place where it can shed one earthly form and prepare to adopt another, continuing its ageless mission to guide and enlighten humanity. Of course, this is all highly speculative. There's no scientific evidence to support the notion that Tutankhamun, Jesus, Apollo, Krishna, or any other religious or historical figures are manifestations of the same entity. These ideas remain firmly in the realm of metaphysical speculation and alternative spiritual beliefs. Yet the very act of contemplating such possibilities can be valuable. It encourages us to look beyond the boundaries of our own cultural and religious backgrounds. It invites us to consider the common threads that run through different spiritual traditions and to ponder the deeper meanings behind ancient myths and religious narratives. Whether or not one accepts the idea of divine incarnations spanning history, exploring these connections can lead to a greater appreciation of our shared human heritage. It reminds us that throughout time and across cultures, people have grappled with similar questions about life, death, and the nature of the divine. Tutankhamun's golden mask and Jesus' crown of thorns may seem worlds apart. The Sermon on the Mount and the Bhagavad Gita arise from vastly different contexts. Yet in each we can find echoes of humanity's eternal quest for meaning, guidance, and connection to something greater than ourselves. As we stand in the present, looking back at these towering figures of the past, perhaps the most important question isn't whether they were literal incarnations of the same being. Perhaps what matters most is how their legacies continue to shape our understanding of the world and our place in it. From the treasure-filled tomb in the Valley of the Kings to the empty cave outside Jerusalem, these ancient stories still have the power to captivate our imaginations and stir our souls. Whether seen as distinct individuals or facets of a cosmic whole, figures like Tutankhamun and Jesus remind us of the enduring human capacity for wonder, faith, and the search for transcendent truth. Are Tutankhamun, Jesus Christ, Apollo, and Lord Krishna one and the same, being incarnated at different times throughout history? This question has intrigued scholars and mystics for centuries, and today we'll explore the fascinating parallels between these legendary figures. Let's begin with their births. Apollo, the Greek god of light and prophecy, was born inside a cave. Interestingly, in Islamic tradition, Jesus is also said to have been born in a cave. This connection to caves doesn't end at birth. Both Tutankhamun, the boy pharaoh of ancient Egypt, and Jesus Christ were buried in caves, their final resting places shrouded in mystery and reverence. The early lives of these figures are marked by danger and persecution. In the case of Jesus, King Herod ordered the slaughter of innocent children in an attempt to eliminate the prophesied king of the Jews. Similarly, Lord Krishna's uncle, King Kansa, killed many innocent children in his quest to destroy Krishna. These parallel stories of threatened infancy suggest a common narrative thread running through different cultures and times. One striking similarity among Tutankhamun, Jesus Christ, Apollo, and Lord Krishna is their portrayal as young gods. In art and literature, They are often depicted as youthful, vibrant beings, embodying divine energy and wisdom beyond their years. This shared characteristic of eternal youth speaks to their roles as symbols of renewal and hope. The theme of foster parentage is another intriguing connection. Apollo, Krishna, and Jesus Christ were all raised by foster parents. Tutankhamun, while not technically fostered, was raised by his uncle and grandfather-in-law, as well as his wet nurse, Maya. This pattern of alternative caregivers might symbolize the divine nature of these beings, set apart from ordinary mortals from birth. In iconography and symbolism, all four figures are associated with the sun. Tutankhamun is often depicted as the sun god Ra. Jesus Christ is referred to as the light of the world. Apollo is the god of the sun, and Krishna is associated with the sun's radiance. This solar connection underscores their roles as bringers of light, both literal and metaphorical. The Egyptian connection is particularly fascinating. Tutankhamun was, of course, Egyptian. Jesus Christ, according to biblical accounts, spent time in Egypt as a child. Apollo, interestingly, is sometimes called Egyptus, suggesting a link to Egypt. This shared Egyptian thread weaves these figures together across time and culture. Even their names hold intriguing similarities. Tutankhamun is called Peru, short for Neb-K-Peru. Jesus is referred to as Peel-Jotes in the Bible, meaning wonderful counselor. These names bear a striking resemblance to Apollo of the Greeks and the Indian deity Lord Krishna, who is called Gopala. The linguistic echoes across these diverse cultures are truly remarkable. The manner of their deaths, or at least the legends surrounding them, also share curious parallels. Tutankhamun is said to have died from a foot injury. Lord Krishna, according to Hindu tradition, died when an arrow pierced his foot. Jesus Christ, in the Christian narrative, had his feet nailed to the cross during his crucifixion. This focus on foot injuries as a point of vulnerability is a compelling shared motif. In Christian tradition, Jesus refers to himself as the Amen, and is also called Emmanuel. These names bear a frenetic similarity to Tutankhamun, further tantalizing those who seek connections between these figures. As we delve deeper into the stories and symbolism surrounding Tutankhamun, Jesus Christ, Apollo, and Lord Krishna, we find ourselves in a web of interconnected narratives. The parallels in their births, early lives, divine attributes, and even their deaths are too numerous to be easily dismissed as mere coincidence. Are these similarities evidence of a single divine being manifesting across different cultures and eras? Or do they speak to a universal human tendency to create similar myths and legends, regardless of time and place? The answer may lie somewhere in between, in the realm where history meets mythology, where fact blends with faith. What's undeniable is the profound impact these figures have had on human civilization. Whether seen as distinct individuals or manifestations of a single divine essence, Tutankhamun, Jesus Christ, Apollo, and Lord Krishna have shaped religions, inspired art, and influenced philosophical thought for millennia. Their stories continue to captivate us, inviting us to look beyond the boundaries of individual cultures and religions. In exploring these connections, we're not just studying ancient history or comparative religion. We're embarking on a journey that challenges our understanding of divinity, human nature, and the very fabric of our shared cultural heritage. As we conclude our exploration, we're left with more questions than answers. But perhaps that's the point. The mystery surrounding these figures, the tantalizing similarities in their stories, serve as a reminder of the vast depths of human spirituality and the endless quest for understanding our place in the cosmos. Whether you see these parallels as proof of a grand, unified divine plan or as fascinating examples of cultural cross-pollination, one thing is clear: the stories of Tutankhamun, Jesus Christ, Apollo, and Lord Krishna continue to resonate across time and space, inviting us to ponder the great mysteries of existence. And so, we leave you with this thought: in the grand tapestry of human history and spirituality, are these threads of similarity mere coincidence, or are they clues to a deeper and universal truth that transcends our individual beliefs and cultural boundaries? The answer, like the figures we've discussed, remains beautifully, tantalizingly elusive.